It wasn't until recently that I discovered what truly brings me peace. And for me, right now, it's being alone. But a lot of people don't have the luxury of doing so. So I just want to share in this video ways to find peace regardless of what's going on throughout your life or where you are today. But it's super, super important. So let's get into it. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I was able to find this peace in my life. And I talk to a lot of friends on, a daily, a weekly basis who are just always in some sort of frazzled nature, and they tend to call me to calm them down because they know I will. And they also know that I've found ways to make peace with whatever is going on in my life. And that's not an easy thing to do. But it wasn't until I realized that we are eternal beings, and no matter what we're going through, it will always just be a lesson for us to improve who we are. Challenges are just simply ways for us to become familiar with something so that when it comes up again in the future, we can go like, oh, I know exactly what's going on here and I know how to navigate it, versus it being something you're experiencing for the first time and you don't have all the tools necessary to get through it. So this is why I say that we have to recognize challenges and hardships for what they are. They're stepping stones to help us level up into the being that we came here to be. And it was when I understood that I realized that there was no sort of trial or tribulation that I, one, couldn't overcome, or two, I couldn't problem solve on my own or using the tools and resources that I have available. But also, everything that happens is happening for my greater good. Everything happens for a reason. And I know that I'm an eternal being. And so, if this isn't something that's going to define this lifetime, it may define a future lifetime of mine, or whatever the case is. However, I just have this understanding that nothing can really truly phase me. Nothing that I do is going to define who I am forever. That is not the case. And so, because of this, when I'm stressed out or when something happens that is completely out of my control, I try to understand it from a perspective of why is this happening and what am I learning from this? And because of that, because I'm constantly asking myself that question on a daily basis, I'm able to move through life in a much more peaceful way, just knowing that. Another thing that helps me a lot to remain at peace and to remain in a state of gratitude is to have some sort of daily spiritual practice, such as journaling, such as yoga, to help me ground myself before the day starts, or to help me ground myself throughout the day. I also use a lot of meditation. I'm meditating whenever I feel frustrated. I start meditating and I start doing breath work. I have found these tools to be so useful in my life. And whenever anything happens, I know first and foremost, I need to take a deep breath and implement any one of those tools that I just mentioned in order to find my calm, my center, my middle ground, my grounding, and knowing that everything is going to be okay because we are eternal. And a lot of people ask, okay, what about life and death situations? And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. However, we have to understand that regardless of what you believe, whenever, we have some sort of transition, it's meant to be peaceful. And so we have to release this fear that's associated with death, for example, because death is one of the biggest fears after, public speaking and falling from the sky. So I think I'm at peace with knowing that. And I mentioned this in a lot of my videos. For me, the way that I was able to reach that point was gradual, but at the same time, when I did plant medicine and when I started to work on my mental health and I started to work on my shadow work and discovering who I am as a soul, I removed a lot of blockages and fears that kept me away from being peaceful at all times or feeling a state of peace at all times. It kept me away from essentially being able to wake up knowing that whatever happens is for my greater good. So once I went through all of the work of learning more about myself and who I really am and the power that I hold, I I feel so much comfort in knowing that I am one with the all, I'm one with source, I am an eternal being. You know, this lifetime is meant to be a playground for me and others to experience the world how we see fit, however we want to experience it. Having that deep understanding and deep knowing that you are an internal being and that you're going to go through several trials and tribulations, but that doesn't define who you are, and you don't have to allow it to dictate how you move about this world. We have to make the decision to be at peace no matter what. And I do say decision because it is a choice. You can choose to give in to the chaos. You can choose to allow external circumstances to move and sway you through this life. Or you can choose to not have those sort of things have an effect on you and use the tools that we're given to avoid that. So I hope that makes sense. But essentially, I just wanted to share how being grateful for whatever situation you have right now, knowing that no matter what, you are taken care of because you are all that is. So you're never without, and there's never anything that is given to you that you weren't meant to receive and that you can't handle, because that is the reason why. We are here to persevere, we're here to experience, to learn, to grow. I just hope that this resonates with you so that you come back to watch this video the next time you feel like you're going through any difficulties or anything that you feel like you can't make it through. You got it.